This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our new sponsor, Ease, the leading online on-demand marketplace for legal California medical marijuana delivery. Ease's one-stop shop website makes it super quick and easy for registered patients to browse and buy cannabis flower, concentrates, edibles, topicals, and all the other different medical marijuana products that are locally available. With just a few clicks, you can get whatever medical marijuana products you need delivered right to your door. Learn more about all the cool things Ease is up to and place your own order, assuming you're a California medical marijuana patient, over at ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E, ease.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, November 20th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 377 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a business merger between cannabis companies from Canada, the United States, and the Netherlands, with Canadian medical marijuana giant Canopy Growth teaming up in a new venture with Denver-based Organa Brands and Greenhouse Brands of Amsterdam. The deal will give Organa Brands and Greenhouse Brands a stake in AgriFarm, a wholly owned subsidiary of Canopy, in exchange for the exclusive and royalty-free rights for AgriFarm to use all of their intellectual property, including existing brands, operating procedures, and plant genetics. For the two smaller companies, the deal with Canopy, which will at first focus on the Canadian market, will eventually open up more international opportunities, as Canopy has been aggressive in setting up distribution deals in countries like Germany and Australia. Swing over to Marijuana Business Daily for the full read and the rest of the details on this one. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Dropping into my corner of the country here in Maine, the Portland Press Herald is reporting that some of the state's medical marijuana caregivers are saying that they're not as worried about a new set of regulations recently announced by state officials, and that some of the new rules could prove to be positive for the industry. On Saturday, around 125 caregivers met in the state capital of Augusta for a 2-hour workshop on the new rules, which will go into effect in February. Those new regulations, which I reported on after they were announced, require caregivers to better track the number of patients they see in a year, submit to on-demand inspections, and thoroughly document all transfers and movements of medical cannabis. Catherine Lewis of the Medical Marijuana Caregivers of Maine told the Press Herald that many of the changes were things that caregivers were already doing, and that they weren't expected to be overly disruptive. This is another good one to open up in full. Our final top story of the day is the news that the Connecticut chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, as well as the Yale chapter of Students for Sensible Drug Policy, is hosting a debate next week between candidates for governor of the state. So far, they've confirmed the participation of leading Democratic candidate Dan Drew, as well as Republican candidates Jonathan Harris and Micah Whelan-Taconis. The debate will focus on parsing the candidates' positions on things like cannabis policy, as well as broader drug policy issues. If you live in the New Haven area and want to attend, mark your calendar for 7 p.m. next Tuesday, the 28th. You can find more details over on Normal's press release, which is linked to off of a story in Civilized. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease, the one-stop shop website for legal California medical marijuana delivery. Ease has a very cool business model in that they don't ever actually touch any medical cannabis products themselves. Instead, they partner up with the top dispensaries in their active markets and shuttle all their online orders to them for fulfillment and delivery. They provide a well-designed and consistent interface for customers and a lucrative line of new business for their partner dispensaries. And because they're really picky about only working with top dispensaries, their customers know they're going to get the best products at the lowest prices delivered to their door quickly. It's about as good as it gets. Learn more about Ease and browse a sample menu over at ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E, ease.com. All right, time for the Blitz. Bruce Barcott over at Leafly picked up on a study published earlier this month that enumerated the increased risk of crashing a car when operating under the influence of different substances. As you might not be surprised to hear, alcohol leads the way in terms of being the most dangerous substance to drive after consuming, with drunk drivers being just under 18 times more likely to cause a fatal crash than a sober driver. Drivers operating under the influence of marijuana were found to be 1.65 times more likely to cause a fatal accident. Bruce nicely tied in an earlier piece by David Bienenstock that highlighted another study finding that cannabis drivers were 5% more likely to crash than sober drivers, while drunk drivers were 293% more likely, and texting drivers 310%. Tom Angel has a good piece up looking at a Republican congressional blockade of proposed legislation in the U.S. Congress to free up legal marijuana businesses to deposit money into bank accounts. This is one of our industry's bigger, long-running issues, and Colorado Representative Earl Perlmutter hoped to bring some relief with a bill barring federal officials from punishing banks who do business with state legal cannabis companies. As Tom's reporting, though, Representative Perlmutter's amendment was rejected along a party line vote while under consideration by the House Financial Services Committee. Today is the first day that the state of California will issue tax permits to legal marijuana distribution companies. The state currently taxes its legal medical marijuana sales, but suffers from a low participation rate by dispensaries, with an estimated 66% choosing not to remit taxes. The state hopes that by requiring medical marijuana businesses to be current on their taxes if they want to get involved with the new adult use program, it will boost the amount of tax revenue it's able to collect. The city of Oakland, California is currently sorting through 255 applications for licensed marijuana cultivators, delivery services, manufacturers, cultivators, testing labs, and distributors. City officials say they will fully approve some of those who have applied to be up and running by January 1st, while others will get more temporary licenses as they work through the application process. Oakland is notable for its equity permit program, which gives preferential treatment to applicants who have been convicted of marijuana crimes within the city, who earn less than 80% of the city's average wage, or who live in a part of Oakland that's been overly impacted by marijuana-related arrests. WBUR is reporting that more and more cities and municipalities in Massachusetts are rejecting proposed bans on that state's legal adult use and medical marijuana industry. A number of towns in recent days have voted down proposed bans and moratoriums, some attracted, no doubt, by the local taxes available to be imposed under state law. If a town chooses to, up to 6% of legal cannabis sales can be captured locally. This is another good one to open up in full. The state of Oregon just yanked the business license from a legal marijuana business whose owner was arrested in Nebraska while driving a van full of cannabis products. Richard Wilkinson, owner of the company Rich Extracts, was arrested by Nebraska police when he was pulled over in a vehicle packed with just over $1 million in cannabis concentrates, as well as packaged flour, hash oil, and seeds. The Oregon Liquor Control Commission say they've actually been watching Mr. Wilkinson before the arrest and warned other state operators to make sure not to step out of compliance similarly. Finally for today, we have a good news piece out of San Diego County, California, where newly installed District Attorney Summer Stephan allowed cannabis entrepreneur James Sladek to plead a pile of looming felony marijuana charges down to just 2 misdemeanors, a $1,000 fine, and a year of probation. I've reported on Mr. Sladek's case a number of times over the year, as former San Diego County DA Bonnie Dumanis had raided his state legal cannabis business, seized his and his family's personal money using civil assets forfeiture, and threatened him and his associates with felony charges and their associated years of prison time. The Voice of San Diego has a great article highlighting how the plea deal reached last week could portend better times ahead for legal cannabis in the county. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, ease.com, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.